all 1-mana spells, 2-mana spells, and lands.
That's correct.
So, top plus counterbalance floating a 2-cost card is really hard for lands to beat. That's the draw that Jack's looking for.
Looks like Andersen is happy with his 1-lander. 2 Mox Diamonds, a Tranquil Thicket, a Mana Bond, a Gamble, and a Crop Rotation.
This is not necessarily a bad opening here. He can play Mox Diamond, assuming this resolves. He can gamble for Loam. Next turn, I guess he still can't even dredge at that point.
No, he'll have to take a draw.
But it's at least a starting point.
Yeah. I mean, this is Demonic Tutor for Loam, so that's what you want. And to be fair, it's not like the deck that he's up against kills you very quickly. So, let's see if Gamble resolves here. Fogle does have a copy of Force of Will.
And given the state of affairs right now, Chris is probably not that upset if it gets hit with Force of Will, because he has to take draw steps until he finds a second mana source anyway.
And Force of Will is going to remove Dig Through Time. So Jack's way we're going to go. It's a Plains and a top. Pass the turn back over to Andersen. Andersen will draw. Punishing Fire is what he's found.
So he has a mana bond. He has 1 uncastable card, which is Punishing Fire, and 3 cards predicated on having a lands, which are Crop Rotation, Mox Diamond, and Mana Bonds.
Yeah.
Not the best cards to have while you're stuck on 0 lands.
Maybe not the best draw for the lands deck, one would say.
I think that's a fine keep on 6.
On a mulligan, yeah, it's fine. Your Gamble resolves, it is what it is.
You at least have access to Loam, which is the starting point.
Yeah. Take a draw. Plus, he'll probably draw lands, right?
Well, he sort of did.
To Dark Depths. I think he probably played Mox Diamond here.
It's funny because he kind of wants to keep a land and Crop Rotate away, but he could really use things that make mana.
It's an interesting squeeze, to say the least.
Now, as funny as this is, if Chris draws Loam, he's got a real draw going.
Yeah.
Doesn't take very much.
That's good. There's that. Pass the turn back. I think Jack forgot to draw for his last turn, so it may look like he drew an extra card, but that is not the case. There's Nerid Mesa. Sacrifice that. Get a land out of the deck, probably spin the top 2. Get himself a Tundra. Very risky to search up non-basics against this deck.
Well, it's not even clear if Christopher draws Wasteland that he can afford to use it.
This is true.
Because if Chris had Loam, he would have cast Loam this turn.
I'm going to sacrifice Scalding Tarn as well, so we'll see what Jack is up to here in just a moment.
I think he has Counterbalance, in which case it will take a while for the game to end, but
Yep.
given the state of affairs,
Well,
all right.
he doesn't want to play anymore, you know, and I bet you can respect that.
Good on you, Chris.
Yeah. Chris
Good
says,
on you.
Now, for what it's worth, the games take a long time anyway. So I can certainly see that conceding there and just saying, look, chances of me winning this game are very slow and very slim, so let's just play the next games. And his matchup gets better after sideboard.
Correct. And Chris and Jack both can't afford draws.
Yeah.
So it behooves both of them to just try to play the match out to its natural conclusion.
We take a look at Chris's sideboard. There's a Zoran Orb, 2 copies of Choke, a Seismic Assault, an Ancient Tomb, a Karakas, a Dark Depths, a Primeval Titan, 1 Brave Revelation, 2 copies of Crozan Grip, and then 4 copies of Sphere of Resistance. Some nice options here.
Crozan Grip's a great starting point, helps blow up Counterbalance or Sensei's Divine Top. Once you get past that, there's some weirdos here that I'm not too keen on speculating on. I think that the Ancient Tomb will probably come in matchups where Choke is also coming in, so you can get that opening a little more frequently. I don't even know if he wants Choke against Miracles, because usually they play a lot of alternate mana sources and so forth, but I think the Crozan Crypts are definitely coming in, and past that, I think you might see the Chokes. Maybe the Seismic Assault, as it's a way to win through Loam, maybe a little bit easier than trying to kill with the lands, and the Ancient Tomb seems sweet.
What do you see on the other side?
Pyroclasm and Batter Skull, 2 copies of Stoneforge Mystic, and Engineer Explosives, 2 Fluster Storms, a Wear Terror, Vendilion Click, 2 copies of Red Elemental Blast, a Hydro Blast, a Blue Elemental Blast, 2 copies of Rest in Peace. Not really a lot to like here. I do like the copies of Rest in Peace. Shuts out Loam. I think the 1 copy of Vendilion Click is good here. Gives Jack a little bit more pressure. Also good against Loam if he's able to play it fast enough or Chris gets a little sloppy. But past that, not a lot to like here.
Well, players are getting shuffled up and ready for game number 2, as we've only gone about 5 minutes into this match. Andersen conceding game number 1 very quickly. But we will talk about the Ooze token, newest addition to the Creature Collection series.
So we've transitioned this over to being a website order deal. Any order over $5 will get 2 of these sent for free. And if you're still interested in the dice bag, playmat, sleeves, card holders, dividers, so forth, you can get that over at StarCityGames.com or come by to any booth that when we're running an event, whether it be an open, Grand Prix, and so forth.
Pretty sweet stuff. We'll probably have more Creature Collection stuff for you guys next year as well. Don't know what it's going to be just yet, but if I know Evan Irwin, he's got some crazy things in the works.
It's probably going to be adorable. I think that we might have reached an impasse with the hippopotamus collection, but we're still going to be banging on that door.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Why would we?
See if Chris can find a better hand here as he is ready to go for game number 2. That first hand was very awkward to see the lands deck not draw any of them. So, but the initial version of this deck used to be called 43 for a reason. It used to play 43 lands, where this version only playing 36.
And a lot of these decks have gotten away from mana bonds as well, though Chris is playing it. In the 43 land build, it makes a lot of sense to play mana bonds because you're going to get hands that are 1 mana bonds and 6 lands, and then it's incredible. Chris only playing 1 copy, it appears. So a bit of a de-emphasis, but still enough upside there where I think it's worth playing the 1 copy.
Yeah, a lot of people have really stepped away from Mana Bond in this deck. The Exploration is always going to be there. Gamble 2, so 4 of each of those. 4 Life in the Loam, 4 Mox Diamonds, 4 Punishing Fires, 3 Crop Rotations, and a Mana Bond. That's the weapon of choice here for Andersen and his 24 spells. No creatures, of course, outside of the Avatar token that can be made off of Dark Depths.
And the nice thing about this is Chris gets the sideboard pretty easily because there's some utility lands that don't have much in the way of functionality. The Bajuka Bog, the Tabernacle, there's some easy cuts.
Well, time to take a look. Looks a little bit better than last time. See if Jack likes what he's looking at.
It looks like Jack has brought in an Engineered Explosives, which I like a lot. Can cover him against Mox Diamond or the 1 mana permanents. I would imagine for the same reason he's brought in Wear Terror.
Yeah. Andersen has 2 copies of Mox Diamond in his hand this go around. Doesn't have a Loam yet, so don't know if he's going to mulligan or not. Loam is a crucial piece of this deck, but Andersen's going to keep his hand. Diamond is good. Discarding a Dark Depths, we think. Maybe not. Perhaps it's Wasteland. He's going to go with the Depths. Play this. Play Exploration. Play a Port. Along with the Wasteland. Pass a turn back. Exploration. Very, very powerful in this deck. There's a Scalding Tarn. Pass a turn back. Going to go after the Scalding Tarn. Play I like a lot.
Might as well. If Jack allows to get tapped, then it's vulnerable to Wasteland.
Yep. There's a basic island. Andersen will untap and draw. Another copy of Exploration.
And these guys have just not cooperated with Chris thus far.
He'll play another one. I'll just pass the turn back after that. Time to port on the upkeep. Jack's going to cast a Brainstorm. So 3 cards coming, Stoneforge Mystic and 2 Scalding Tarns. 2 cards will go back.
So it looks like Jack has gone to the Stoneforge Mystic package, which I'm a little surprised by because lands generally defends itself very well against creatures. But if he's anticipating Chris cutting the Maze of Ith and so forth, maybe it's fine.
The draw, a choke.
Choke is not shabby here. The island's already tapped.
Well, we're going to go for a choke. He will cast it into his graveyard. He's got a feeling it's going to be countered. Yeah. Choke is in play. Well, fair enough. Fogle's going to sacrifice his Scalding Tarn.
Whatever you're getting with this.
He's going to get a mountain.
Ah.
Yeah, I was going to say, you better make it count, but a basic mountain's not so bad. Andersen coming out with the goods here. See what Jack can do this turn. His island's tapped for good. Counterbalance the draw. And there's a Tarn.
And I think there's, I would assume, only one mountain on the list, which means that the Tarn can only get islands.
Yep. Tranquil Thicket the draw. Do wonder how he wants to use that card.
I think that I like cycling here. I'm no lands expert, but I feel like he just wants to get to Loam.
He's going to deploy and just pass the turn back.
I guess even Loam at this point is pretty slow.
Jack going to draw a card, a copy of Rest in Peace. Well, Loam stinks now. At least we think.
And I like Chris not porting. I think he wants to go after that Scalding Tarn again, try to put Jack in the same squeeze.
Yep. Jack's going to sacrifice Scalding Tarn. There's Tundra. You get a one-shotter there. Two mana. There's Rest in Peace. That'll clear up the graveyards. Andersen going to look at a crop rotation and a Mox. Yep, there they go. So Rest in Peace is in, but Tundra's done for this game. So Loam's a bad draw now, obviously. And there's a Taiga. That'll come into play.
But this is a really favorable position for Chris.
Yep.
And Jack's far away from being able to do anything.
Yeah, he's going to get him in the port lock now. Choke was big. Jack going to have to discard counterbalance. The Rest in Peace says that's gone forever. Take a draw, Will Chris. It's a wasteland. The question, of course, now is how does he want to use the crop rotation that he's got in his hand? Will he ever use it?
Well, I think if he finds a... Well, there's only one Dark Depths in the list and one in the sideboard. Three in the main.
Yeah, three in the main. Yeah,
So-
these versions play a lot now.
If he can get to either Dark Depths or Thespian Stage, then I think he probably crop rotates for the other piece.
Flooded Strand comes into play. Gamble. That's the draw. He's got to take care of that fetch land, though.
The fetch land does allow Jack to get a Plains.
Yep.
That's a big draw there because he has Stoneforge Mystic in hand, so he gets at least a little something going.
Jack will draw a card. Didn't get a great look at the draw step.
So now a line of play that Jack has afforded to him because he's drawn an island. He can go get a Plains, play the island, set explosives to 3. He has a Plains and a mountain available to then explosives. Gonna go with Stoneforge instead.
Andersen looking at crop rotation, Mox, and Gamble. He's thinking. Looks like he's going to crop rotate in response. He'll sacrifice his Tranquil Thicket. It's going to resolve. We think. See what he's left with here. Crows and Grip is something that made him stop for a second. Primeval Titan gave him a pause as well. I'm super greedy. I want to go get the Titan. Or excuse me, I can't get the Titan with crop rotation. I can't. I thought it was Gamble for a moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. I'll have to search for a land. Gonna get a depths. Maybe. 'Cause I think what he's trying to do is crop rotate for depths and probably gamble for stage and hope
Sure.
he hits. There it is. And Jack gets himself a batter skull. So there that is.
A comical game thus far.
Yeah. Jack gonna have to discard, of course. So there goes counterbalance past the turn back. Chris will draw. It's a Primeval Titan. He's 1 mana short right now. As Dark Depths is not tapped for mana, unfortunately.
Perfect.
Well, he doesn't have to gamble for it, so. Not a. We'll see what happens. It's actually kind of interesting. He can gamble for stage and hope, but he won't do that. He's going to go porting instead, we think. Yep. Going to go out to the plains, it looks like. And Stoneforge is just, well, let's put in a Batter Skull. There's a Germ token. Jack will draw for the turn. Copy of Entreat the Angels.
Perfect.
Yeah. Firing on all cylinders here.
It's hard to beat lands with just a Batter Skull.
Yeah.
Pretty good at blocking. Pretty good at overpowering. Jack sitting on the island in hand doesn't want to play it until he's going to tap it for something because he knows it's just going to get locked by the port.
Yeah. Can't afford to play an island unless he's going to do something with it.
Right.
We're going manual mode. Dark Depths down to 9. Take a draw. What are Foothills? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It is prime time, baby.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
The big guy. Confidently tapping 6 mana. Roar. Do you have a force of will?
About to find out.
No, you do not. He's going to go searching him up. I think it's going to be a Thespian Sage and something else. A port and maybe. Stage is step 1. And I could honestly see stage being step 2. But we'll see.
Just as some insurance here.
Yeah. More ports. More bunch of stuff. He's going to go with a port potentially. And he will. So now Jack has to beat a 2020 and maybe a 6/6.
The biggest problem here, I like Chris getting the port here a lot because it sets him up for a position where he can port all of Jack's white mana.
Yep.
Then make the token.
And not have to worry about swords. Jack will draw. Arid Mesa. Good draw, all things considered. If you are worried about white mana.
I wonder if Jack was just supposed to, when he had the opportunity to make the mana, just go and put explosives of 3. I know it's risky, but I think that Batter Skull is just too much of a long shot against lands. Chris can kill you if he's left in a Maze of Ith or 2. It's not going to work.
There's a land. That's 3 mana. There's Engineering Explosives for 3 now. I'm not sure how much that accomplishes now, though.
It might be too little too late.
Yeah. I think that's the big problem, too. You know, he had a window to do that a little while ago, as you mentioned, but now, not only do I feel it doesn't accomplish all that much, as Andersen's going to draw a card, but you're also giving that information away for the next game, and I think we're going to be heading that way soon.
Yeah. I just don't think it changed the outcome of the game. I do not believe Jack can get out of this.
Yeah.
And Chris can spin the wheel here and get some more lands that disrupt mana. He can go get a Ghost Quarter. So even if Jack plays a fetch land and says go, I don't think he's going to be able to get into Christopher's turn with white mana available.
Titan coming.
And Chris gets to induce the action to begin with anyway by just saying, all right, well, upkeep port you. And that's going to induce the action on the Engineer Explosive straight away.
Mm-hmm. And then that will likely be Jack's entire turn.
Yes.
Likely. Stage. And I would not get a Dark Depths.
I think I would get Ghost Quarter just as another insurance policy or another port. That's the only thing I would really be that interested in if I'm Chris. I guess that's being said can simulate all of that.
Another port.
Stage, please. Brock Pulliam to the stage. stage, please.
All right. Pass the turn back. That island's going to remain tapped. There we go. The choke. Chris going to start with a port activation. Jack is going to go kaboom. There goes the choke. The choke has done a lot this game. Fogle will draw a card. Arid Mesa. And I actually think Andersen may have enough to say, Wasteland your Arid Mesa. Okay. Port.
Yeah.
The land. And make the Dark Depths token. Now,
And I think Chris
timing is key.
I think Chris should be doing this inside of combat.
Yep. And I think he may be.
No reason to allow Jack to float mana on main phase 2.
Yeah, and you don't want to do it on the end step either.
Exactly.
Because then he'll have the mana the entire time, so. The timing here is very, very important since mana does not float through phases.
And it wouldn't surprise me right now if Chris was talking to the table spotter about this as well,
Yep.
just to make sure he understands.
Because if he does all of those things in that order, then he should have the W.
Yeah.
Because he looks like he has enough mana to do everything he needs to do. Again, Wasteland the Arid Mesa, either at the end of the attack step or at the end of the second main phase, which it looks like that's what he's going to do. And Jack will sacrifice it to go get some sort of white source of mana, like a Tundra. Then Chris says, port it. Would you like to float mana? Go to my next phase, make my Dark Depths token. Get you. That's what it looks like is going to happen right now. Yep, and Jack knows that, and Chris Andersen's going to win game number 2. So a very well-played game there by Andersen. And we're going to play a third one here.
And that shows the difference between this deck now and a couple of years ago. The Thespian Dark Depths kill so much faster. Before, I think Chris would have had an edge in that game, but it probably would have taken 20, 25 minutes for him to finally win.
Dig up the Barbarian Ring, baby.
It would have been a slow burn, but now he's able to get into a third game with 27 minutes left on the clock.
And to be fair, the Barbarian Ring plan, rest in peace, would have messed that up.
Yeah.
So.
De-emphasizing the graveyard, too, is great for the reasons that you mentioned. People are going to be relicking you and Surgical Extraction and Rest in Peace all day long, so having a kill that doesn't involve the graveyard is great for this deck, too.
Going to shuffle up for game number 3 here. Again, one of these players will be making top 8 with a W. Well, you can make top 8 a local IQ. Get some sweet stuff. If you do, you can check out this here for our IQs.
On top of qualifying for the Invitational, which is the route that many players take to get there in the first place, all of our IQs come with exclusive playmats, dice bags, pins, and SCG premium vouchers for people competing in the tournament or who make the top 8.
Oftentimes, you guys will see us wearing pins on our suits. Some of them for game night, like we're wearing today, the brand new Turtle, which you can get at game night. You can play every week. Head over to StarCityGames.com/game night for that information. Or the IQ pin, we were wearing that Acorn Mystic pin for the past month or so.
Yep.
So pretty cool stuff. I know a lot of people like pins, so we've got those for you guys. Be a top 8 or the Creature Collection pins. Exclusive dice bag, playmat, and of course the vouchers for the best articles on the web. Star City Games IQs qualify for an Invitational.
Not just qualify for the Invitational, qualify for the Players' Championship. There's been a lot of players that we're going to have. All of them have some Open Series and Invitational success, but if you look at Stephen Mann, Logan Byes, Jim Davis, Kevin Jones, Gerard Fabiano, these are players who have done a lot of their damage on the IQ circuit. So not just a route to the Invitational, although it's primarily that, but if you're dedicated enough and do well at the Opens and Invitationals, it can also be a route to the Players' Championship.
Game number 3. Don't know who it favors, but we're going to find out right now. This player's going to finish shuffling up. Choke was big, obviously, and if you can get that and play against Miracles, it is quite good.
The way the game opened up with an island getting ported, that's about as good as it's going to get for Choke.
It really is. It's a great start.
You can see why Joe Lissette occasionally goes to a Mystic Gate.
One of my favorites in that deck. I tell you, anytime Joe shakes it up, I get really excited.
Also allows the deck to open on basic planes, top, turn to Mystic Gate counterbalance.
Boom.
Something Tundra cannot facilitate.
He's been known to dial up the Glacial Fortress as well.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for Seachrome Coast. I don't know if that's ever going to be right.
I think those lands are underplayed a little bit in Legacy. The fetch land dual land thing means that you don't have to go that deep most of the time, but for a lot of decks, You know, you're playing Reanimator. What's the difference between Darkslow Shores and Underground Sea?
It's not huge,
You have Massacre in your sideboard sometimes, so that's a difference. But
but it is fast mana that's pain-free. So
I think those lands are a little underplayed, though. I would not play a Seachrome Coast of Miracles because that's a deck that's playing its 4th and 5th and 6th mana.
yeah, I don't think we'll ever see Joe go to that, but there are plenty of blue-white lands, perhaps a floodplain.
Seachrome Coast and Jace the Mind Sculptor do not belong in the same deck.
In Legacy. They were friends in Standard,
Sure.
but in Legacy, I agree with you. Looks like somebody's got a Mox Time in their hand. Chris with an accidental reveal.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. This hand stinks.
Another truly atrocious opening hand for Chris. It's 3 in a row.
I think Chris is going to snap it off and keep. It looks horrible.
We have not seen Chris cast Life from the Loam yet. And there's a good chance we won't see it this game either.
I see 2 Dark Depths, a Mox Diamond, a Seismic Assault, 2 Explorations, and a Thespian Stage. Well, hey, he's got a plan. He's got to put him to the test right away.
Yes.
I can make a 20-20. Can you beat this? Jack's taking a mulligan, so we'll find out. It's bold, but I like the boldness of it. We'll see what Jack puts together here.
And it's tough to sideboard against the land stack because how many Swords of Plowshares are you supposed to leave in? When you draw those kind of cards, you might not have enough resistance against the Loam Engine or other elements of the deck.
Well, his hand is actually pretty good, but it's not good against Make It 2020. Island past the turn back. Andersen draws a Wasteland.
He's got Rest in Peace. He's got Counterbalance.
He doesn't, I think actually he does have white man. I take it back. There's a Mox. There goes Depths. Exploration. That's good. Wasteland Stage, go. Fogle will draw. Explosives, which is mighty interesting. The question is, does he want to play for 1 or 2 or at all? He's just going to play Counterbalance, a card that you really, really want to draw against this deck. But Andersen's draw is lined up in such a way that he just does not care.
And I think the giveaway is already there that this is happening because why would he discard Dark Depths
Yeah, when he has a
to
stage.
a Mox Diamond
Yeah.
unless...
I don't think there's much reason to play a spell here. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter, yeah. He can see if the coast is clear on what's on top of his deck, actually.
Yeah,
so I take this back.
If Swords of Plowshares is the top card, he can stop.
Yep. Because he can play 2 lands. He can play both those lands and then pass the turn back. So there's the Depths, there's the Wooded Foothills, pass the turn back. Jack's draws a Brainstorm, so Jack has to find swords in these next 3 cards or he loses.
And I don't think Chris's hand lets him really do anything else, so I think he's going to pull the trigger and see where Jack's at.
Yeah. You're going to sacrifice the Foothills. I like moving in.
Well, Chris has no loam, so where else is his hand going at this point?
Yeah. Yep, moving in. Jack's going to cast Brainstorm. He's got 3 shots at his swords.
Chris playing with quite the flourish. I mean, he knows what his hand does.
2, 3.
Ponder, Counterbalance, Jace.
Yep.
If there's no plow there, that's no help.
Jack's gonna have to put back 2 cards and try to represent some sort of strength here, but
Well, there's nothing to represent because I think Chris is going to attack.
yeah, and that's gonna do it. Chris Andersen's gonna win this match here over Jack Fogle. Lance takes down Miracles, and that means he is 4-0-1 against Miracles this weekend.
That extra dimension to the deck, not that it's terribly new, but Loam's depth, you know, the deck didn't always have access